Thank you. Next question, the member from Guelph.
Good morning, Speaker. Thank you. My question is for the Premier. Every prominent stakeholder in the province of Ontario, except for a handful of development industry lobbyists, have unanimously asked for Schedule 6 to be removed from Bill 229. But instead of listening to the people, the government introduced amendments that gave the minister even more power to ignore science and run roughshod over responsible planning. Yesterday, the Minister of the Environment in a media article said that he thought it would be excellent for democracy to have more debate and consultations on CAs. I agree before we pass Schedule 6. I agree. So, Speaker, why is the Premier hell-bent on continuing to rush this ill-conceived schedule through an unrelated budget bill against the will of the people of this province? Will he listen to his own minister, remove Schedule 6, because we need more consultation on the changes to CAs?
Thank you. I recognize the parliamentary assistant.
Thank you, Speaker. And over the past few years, as the member knows, conservation authorities were getting into all kinds of things like zip lining and photography, and the member knows how important it is to focus on flood mitigation, which is why that's the changes we made brought them back to their core mandate on source water protection, flood mitigation, and natural hazards. And the member also talks about amendments. And yes, Speaker, amendments were made in order to take into account natural hazards. And in fact, over the last the conservation authorities actually have more enforcement power with a stop work order when it comes to natural hazards, and that's actually more enforcement that they've had in the last 70 years, Speaker. It was in the bill originally, but the Liberal government never actually proclaimed it, and it's this government that proclaimed it and giving more conservation authorities the tools they need in order to protect the environment. But Speaker, the member also talks about no support, and I will talk about the Ontario's Farmers Network that said these changes are all overdue. I will talk about Ducks Unlimited, London. We also have Huron-Perth Landowners Association and Ontario Sand and Gravel Association, the Ontario Fruit and Vegetable Growers, and I can name many more people who are in support of these changes.
Thank you. Back to the member from Guelph for supplementary question.
Yeah, I'd like to remind the member opposite that the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, the big city mayors, literally the people who represent, the local elected leaders who literally represent everybody in this province, along with conservation authorities, have said that what this government is doing is reckless. It's going to cost us more in the long run. So I want to ask a question that came to me directly from the CFO of the Toronto Region Conservation Authority, Speaker. If the province is going to force conservation authorities to issue permits for development in environmentally sensitive areas that are in contravention to their science-based watershed approach to decision-making, are they going to indemnify conservation authorities against the repercussions of future impacts of these developments, including flooding? Because there is no mention of this in Schedule 6, and there is substantial risk being forced on to CAs due to this legislation.
Thank you. Back to the parliamentary assistant to the Minister of Environment, Conservation and Parks.
Thank you, Speaker. And let me read you a quote by the Mayor of Windsor. And he says, lots of mayors, myself included, as part of the Ontario Big City Mayors, have issues with conservation authorities and the power given to them, and that the delays that add significant cost to projects, often without much material benefit. Please tell the Minister of Environment that these changes need to be made. Speaker, the changes we're making make sure that conservation authorities are focused on their core mandate. Many of them are doing good work, but frankly, some of them are more focused on zip lining than there are on flood mitigation and natural hazards. Again, we're giving them the tools to do this, and this is being supported by the Simcoe County Federation of Agriculture, the Ontario Farmers Network, Northumberland Federation of Agriculture, and I can name more. And in fact, the Auditor General in her report yesterday, if the member read it, pages 243 to 269, also mentioned, and she followed up on her previous Auditor General report in 2008, that said there needs to be changes to conservation authorities on transparency and accountability, and we're doing just that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question, the member from Muskegowuk, James Bay.